They said the V8 truck war was over. They were wrong. Ram just brought back the TRX, and it's reportedly packing 777 horsepower. Welcome back to Cars Review, and today we're breaking down everything you need to know about the 2027 Ram TRX. For years, fans mourned the loss of one of the most brutal off-road pickups ever built. Back in 2024, Stellantis pulled the plug on the TRX, shifting Ram's lineup toward turbocharged six-cylinder power. But the company hinted this wasn't the end of the story, just a pause. Now Stellantis has confirmed plans to bring the TRX back for 2027, returning under the revived SRT badge. Under the hood, the legendary supercharged 6.2-liter HEMI V8 returns, reworked for even more power. According to the latest reports, it's expected to produce around 777 horsepower and 680 pound-feet of torque, paired with an 8-speed automatic and a full-time four-wheel drive system. Ram says the TRX can hit 60 in about 3.5 seconds and top out near 118 miles per hour. Now let's talk rivals, because this is where it gets interesting. The Ford F-150 Raptor R currently sits at the top of the segment with its 5.2-liter supercharged V8, making 720 horsepower and 640 pound-feet of torque. It runs 0 to 60 in roughly 3.6 to 3.8 seconds and starts north of $110,000 once you factor in destination and options. On paper, if the TRX's reported 777 horsepower holds up, Ram would edge out the Raptor R by nearly 60 horses, a real gap in this class. Then there's the Chevrolet Silverado ZR2. It plays a different game. The ZR2 comes standard with a 305 horsepower diesel, but buyers can step up to an optional 6.2-liter gas V8, making 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet. It's nowhere near as powerful as the Raptor or the TRX, and it's not really built to be. Chevy leans into trail composure with multi-matic dampers and a 2-inch lift rather than outright straight-line speed. It's also dramatically cheaper, starting around $71 to $800, tens of thousands less than either the Raptor R or the reborn TRX. So on paper, it shapes up like this: the TRX potentially leading on horsepower, the Raptor R close behind with a proven track record, and the ZR2 playing a totally different value-focused game rather than chasing the same numbers. The TRX reportedly starts at $99,995 before destination, putting the real price closer to $102,000 once that's included, still cheaper than the Raptor R, but a big jump from the ZR2. So which of these three trucks is actually built to win once the pavement runs out? Let's get into the hardware. According to the latest information, the 2027 TRX rides on 35-inch tires wrapped around 18-inch wheels, controlled by Bilstein Black Hawk E2, adaptive shocks paired with a 5-link rear suspension and a Dana 60 rear axle. Reports point to roughly 11.8 inches of ground clearance, with around 13 inches of front suspension travel and 14 inches in the rear, along with approach departure and breakover angles of about 31, 25.2 and 21.8 degrees. 9 drive modes are said to be on offer, including a dedicated Baja setting built for high-speed desert running, plus hydraulic bump stops designed to control suspension compression during hard landings. If the new TRX carries over the previous truck's long travel philosophy, the focus should remain on soaking up whoops and rough terrain at speed. The Ford F-150 Raptor R counters with 37-inch tires as standard and offers around 13.1 inches of ground clearance, giving Ford an advantage when it comes to clearing larger obstacles. It uses Fox Live valve semi-active shocks and a 5-link rear suspension, with roughly 13 inches of front travel and 14.1 in the rear, essentially matching the TRX's numbers despite the bigger tires. Ford also builds in its own Baja-tuned drive mode, drawing on more than a decade of desert racing experience behind the Raptor nameplate. So it's not simply a case of bigger tires equaling a win. The real story is that Ford gets more ground clearance from those tires while suspension travel between the two trucks ends up nearly identical. Then there's the Silverado ZR2, and it takes a genuinely different approach. The ZR2 can be equipped with Chevy's 3.0-liter Duramax diesel, while the 6.2-liter gasoline V8 delivers 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque, well short of what the TRX and Raptor R put down. But horsepower isn't really the ZR2's pitch. It relies on multi-matic DSSV spool valve dampers, a 2-inch factory suspension lift, and front and rear locking differentials, hardware built for technical trails and controlled off-road driving rather than flat-out desert running. So here's how it really breaks down into 3 different philosophies. The TRX is chasing high-speed desert running with massive horsepower. The Raptor R is chasing the same mission with a proven platform in the largest factory tires in the class. And the ZR2 isn't trying to win that race at all. It's aimed at technical trails and rock crawling capability, at a price tens of thousands of dollars below either rival. The Raptor R holds an edge in tire size and ground clearance, while the TRX counters with nearly identical suspension travel and substantially more power on paper. But the ZR2 isn't chasing the same crown. It just gives buyers serious off-road hardware at a much friendlier price. Now let's talk about what it's actually like to live with these trucks day to day, starting with technology, interior, and towing numbers. According to the latest information, the 2027 TRX is expected to bring a seriously upgraded cabin. Reports point to a 14.5-inch Uconnect 5 touchscreen, a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster, and a 10-inch head-up display, along with hand-wrapped leather surfaces, heated, ventilated, and massaging front seats, dual wireless charging pads, and a 19-speaker Harman Kardon sound system. Ram also says the TRX will offer hands-free driver assistance, giving it another technology advantage in the high-performance truck segment. On towing, Ram lists maximum towing capacity at 8,100 pounds and maximum payload at around 1,020 pounds. That's respectable for a performance-oriented truck, but it's well below the towing capability of more conventional full-size pickups. Inside, the Raptor R combines a digital gauge cluster and head-up display with Ford's extensive trailer assistance technology, including trailer sway control and Pro Trailer Backup Assist. It also carries Fox Live valve shocks that continuously adjust damping on the fly. Its maximum towing capacity is around 8,700 pounds, giving it a modest advantage over the TRX. Payload remains relatively limited compared with a conventional F-150, since the Raptor R's chassis, suspension, and tires are heavily optimized for high-speed off-road performance rather than hauling. The Silverado ZR2 takes a different route. Because it isn't optimized around high-speed desert running to the same degree, Chevy can put more emphasis on towing and everyday utility. With the appropriate configuration, the ZR2 can tow up to roughly 11,500 pounds, well ahead of both the TRX and the Raptor R. Inside, it's built around a functional layout with modern infotainment and off-road specific displays, rather than chasing the same level of luxury materials found in the TRX's cabin. It's a more work and adventure-oriented interior than a showpiece one. So here's the real trade-off across all 3. The TRX and Raptor R sacrifice some towing and payload capability because their chassis, suspension, tires, and powertrains are heavily optimized for high-speed off-road performance. The ZR2 gives up that outright speed and power, but in exchange, it tows substantially more than either rival, and it costs tens of thousands of dollars less to start. If you want the truck that turns heads and attacks the desert, it's the TRX or the Raptor R. But if you're actually going to spend weekends towing a camper or trailer, the ZR2 makes the more practical case. And that's the real trade-off here, performance versus versatility. Let's start with pricing. The 27 Ram TRX is reportedly priced at $99,995 before a $2,595 destination charge, bringing the total to about $102,590 before options. The Raptor R starts above $110,000 before you add certain options, depending on model year and configuration, making it the most expensive of the 3. The Silverado ZR2, by comparison, starts in the low $70,000 range with the gas V8 configuration, tens of thousands less than either performance rival. So where does that leave each truck? If raw power and bragging rights are the priority, the TRX currently claims the horsepower crown at a reported 777, ahead of the Raptor R's. Sound 20 Ram is also positioning the TRX as the more tech-forward option, with its hands-free driver assistance and large 14.5-inch touchscreen. If that reported 777 horsepower figure becomes official, the TRX would have a strong case for the title of most powerful gasoline-powered production pickup. The Raptor R, meanwhile, still has an argument of its own. It's a proven platform with over a decade of Raptor desert racing heritage behind it. Standard 37-inch tires, slightly better ground clearance, and a modest towing edge over the TRX. For buyers who want a truck, backed by Ford's established Raptor platform and years of development, that matters. And then there's the ZR2, which isn't really trying to win the same fight. It can't match the horsepower or straight-line speed of the other two, but it tows more, costs dramatically less, and still brings genuine off-road hardware to the table. With its locking differentials and multimatic dampers. For buyers who want serious off-road capability without spending six figures, the ZR2 arguably makes the most rational case of the three. So here's the bottom line. If you want the truck that turns heads, dominates spec sheets, and announces itself before it even shows up, the TRX and Raptor R are duking it out at the top of the segment. And right now the TRX appears to have the edge on paper. But if you want a genuinely capable off-road truck that won't destroy your budget or your towing plans, the ZR2 quietly makes the strongest real-world case. One final note, some 2027 TRX figures are still based on manufacturer information rather than independent testing, so final specifications and real-world performance could change. That's our full breakdown of the 2027 Ram TRX versus the Ford Raptor R and Chevy Silverado R2, but now I want to hear from you. Would you take the 777 horsepower TRX, the Raptor R, or the cheaper Silverado ZR2? Drop your pick in the comments and subscribe to Cars Review for more truck battles.